Hi, my name is Lauren.
My name is Cody.
I'm Alex.
And we are a team of researchers looking to conduct an experiment on the effects of smoking and teen pregnancy on local students in Hell, Michigan. We are conducting our experiment using a case study, a correlational study, and a true experiment.
I am still Cody, and I'm going to be sitting down with a student named Brittany who just recently had her first child. I'm going to be asking Brittany about her study habits before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and then after giving birth.
Hi, I'm Brittany.
Okay, this is Brittany, and we're just going to get started with a couple of questions. How were your study habits before becoming pregnant?
Before I was pregnant, I would spend up to 12 hours a week studying just for regular school time. I had a 3.9 GPA, so I would spend all of my time in the library or studying at home, and that was where I spent most of my time. And when I prepared for my first SAT that I took, I would study 7 hours a week with a tutor after school. Started 2 months in advance doing that. So most of my time was spent studying, actually.
Okay, how about your study habits while you were pregnant?
While I was pregnant, I did not spend much time studying for the SAT at all. That was not my focus. I was busy with doctor's appointments and with morning sickness and emotional breakdowns, so I didn't really have a lot of time to study.
What about after you had your baby? How are your study habits now?
After I had my baby, I thought I would take the chance of doing the SAT again, and I will still take it, but it won't be like how I had hoped. I haven't studied at all. I have a human to take care of now, so I have different priorities than I did before, so I haven't studied a lot. Probably just gonna wing it. That's all I got.
Okay. Now we're going to be meeting with a student named Billy that has been using tobacco products for over a year now. We're going to discuss his study habits before using tobacco, shortly after using it, and then a year after using it. Okay, this is Billy, and we're just going to start with a couple questions. How were your study habits before you started using tobacco products?
I was a decent student, good, not great. I would study about 2 or 3 hours a week. I wasn't getting any C's or anything. I was an A's and B student, but nothing out of this world or anything.
How about shortly after you started using tobacco products, like a month or so after?
It didn't change too much initially. Most of my study habits stayed the same for the most part. I wouldn't say there was a noticeable difference in my study habits.
Okay, what about now, after you've been using them for over a year? How have your study habits changed?
It's changed significantly now. Usually I was at 2 or 3 hours a week. Now I'm probably about 45 minutes to an hour studying a week. I'm spending most of my time looking for a place to smoke because there's a whole lot of places that are just not allowed. I can't smoke or dip. So I spend a lot of my time looking for that.
Okay. This graph shows the SAT scores for students in the state of Michigan who were pregnant and non-pregnant over the past 12 years. After collecting this data, it is clear that students who become pregnant have significantly lower SAT scores than those who do not. This graph shows the SAT scores for smokers and non-smokers over the past 12 years in the state of Michigan. After gathering this data, it is clear that those who smoke have significantly lower SAT scores than those who do not smoke. After collecting data for both of these factors, it shows that both pregnancy and smoking have negative correlation with SAT scores. Pregnancy's correlation was a negative 0.78 and smoking had a negative correlation of negative 0.4. To conduct our true experiment, 200 students were randomly selected and placed into 4 groups. 50 of the students were put in group 1, which was exposed to tobacco for a month's time. The second 50 students were given a child to take care of for 1 month. The third group of 50 students had a child for a month, as well as were exposed to tobacco for a month. The other 50 were our control group and were not exposed to tobacco and did not have a child for the full month. After this month, students were asked to take the SAT again so we could examine their scores. After conducting the true experiment and after the 1-month trial, this graph shows the results of the SAT scores before the 1 month of smoking and then after the 1 month of smoking. This is an obvious decline in the average score. This graph now shows the results of the before taking care of a child for a month and after. The SAT scores for this also dropped.
This graph shows the SAT scores for pregnant smokers versus teens who are neither pregnant nor a smoker. This graph shows a clear interaction between the two variables.
Through the data that we collected with our experiment, smoking and teen pregnancy had a strong negative correlation on SAT scores in Hell, Michigan.
Our advice to teenagers in Hell is to stop smoking and use protection.